It was a long week, and we got home Saturday night late, or I guess 1 or 2 a.m. Sunday morning. So all day yesterday, I thought it was Monday. I got dressed to come to a press conference yesterday morning when I got out of bed because I thought it was Monday. And today feels like Tuesday. But anyway, it seemed like a long time ago since we got back from South Al. The week is a little bit blurry to me. But we started out with McNeese, and I believe it was 3-2. 3-2 or 2-1? 2-1. Yeah, it was 2-1. We had a 2-0 lead going into the seventh, and got bases loaded and held that off. Chloe came in with the bases loaded and did a great job, got us out of that. And then we had a 3-0 lead the next game in the seventh inning, and we tried to be ingenious as coaches and use it as a practice setting, and we had bases loaded again and won 3-2. The good news is we won, and we held off, and then we had a 6-2 win, and then we concluded the game, the series, with a 15-3 game that was the closest 15-3 game in history. A phenomenal win for us, really. I've coached a long time. I've coached thousands of games, I think, it's fair to say. I think that's honest. I've coached over 1,000 games, and I've never coached a game like that game. So a really good week, 4-0, and I felt like our team is coming together. I feel like we're coming together. I feel like, back when you go back to the Oklahoma game, as soon as that game was over, everybody's saying that this could be a turning point in your season. And at that point, we're down. We were 9-12 when the game started. We were 10-12 when the game was over. And I'm like, well, I hope so, but I wasn't real positive of that. But I do feel like now, we've made a really positive turn in the 8 games since then. And you look at, we've went from 9-12 to 18-12. And the best part is I feel like our pitching has gotten better. I think Coach Justin's doing a really good job of making adjustments through the middle part of the season with our pitching staff. I feel like our hitting has gotten better. I feel like Coach Shelley's doing a great job with our hitters, and our hitters are working really hard. And then our defense, which I think I told you a couple weeks ago I thought would come together faster than the hitting or the pitching, I think it's done exactly that. You look at the South Alabama series, I think we had 5 double plays in that, maybe 6. That was huge in that kind of a close series. So I feel like Coach Hunter's done a really good job, and I feel like the defense is settled and more relaxed over this last 8 games. So it's kind of where I'm at after the end of the week. I think it was 4 games that validated the Central Arkansas tournament. I felt those things, but I maybe didn't want to verbalize it. And the quality of competition was a little less than what we saw this week with McNeese and South Alabama. And I think we saw a continuation of the performance and the improvement, but against a tougher schedule with McNeese and South Al.
Coach, just talk about, Jordan just seems to have, she's a joy to coach, I'm sure, and yet you see these great moments. And first of all, do you think she's come through in such those great moments, and yet it's not there all the time? She's a unique individual.
She's epitome of a team player. Jordan Campbell's she cares about her teammates. You go in our locker room and you watch her interact around the clubhouse with the younger players as like the team mother. She's got that kind of respect from the young kids. She's just a classy person, very intelligent person. And then you give her those opportunities, big moments. She's enormously talented offensively with her bat. And you put her up there I was trying to give Sissy at bats because I feel like Sissy's growing as a hitter. I really like what Sissy's doing offensively, and of course we love what she's doing defensively. It's never been a question. And so I like, man, I got to quit pinch hitting for her, but I'm trying to also take advantage of the great bench that we've got. We've got 12, 13 players that could be starting every day, maybe even 14 on most ball clubs. And so literally, that particular game, I'm like, in fact, I think the whole day I said, that morning in the hotel, I said, well, I can't pinch hit for Sissy every time. I've got to let her grow up and let her mature. And, Sissy actually got all the way on deck, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, the right move here is Jordan. And I could, Sissy, come here. And I said, how about me? How you feel? I want to let you grow up as a hitter, and I want to let you hit right here, but let's let Jordan. I think she might hit one out of here. And she said, well, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm sure she was disappointed. I'm sure she wanted that at bat, because she's confident. And I hollered literally, Jordan. And, it was late when she went out on deck. And I said, drive one. I don't even know how I spoke to her. But I told Sissy, let's let Jordan, I think she could hit one out of here. And it was like a miracle, when you saw that go up there. I think it was 2 outs and 1 strike. But it's not surprising. I mean, I think the Grand Slam against Cal was a pinch hit, and there was one other one. And then in her career, she's always got great hitters. I mean, she hit .392 as a sophomore, and she's a very talented offensive player. She was newcomer of the year in the Sun Belt Conference. And it's just this year's particular team with Hunter, when Hunter come in, Hunter Veach, the defensive coach, I told him I want to commit to a defensive ball club. And I've always done that, shortstop and catcher, but I'm pretty well letting him dictate my lineup based on what's our best defense, and then we figure out a way to win it during the game with a pinch hitter or offense. And that's exactly like it was. I didn't intend to go down to 2 outs, 1 out, or 2 outs, 1 strike, but that's what I want. I want to keep them score low, and then we figure out a way to score in the 6th or 7th inning and win the game. And so she's really a blessing to have on our team as a coach. And then I try to I want to give her at bats. I need to let her hit at least. I'd like to have a perfect rotation where you hit one game and then you get 3 at bats, and then the next day you come back as a pinch hitter. But Laney Crater was so hot, we end up playing her a little more. And then you go back, it went back to last year where Laney Crater was 7 for 9 against South Alabama in 2023. I was expecting her to hit good, and she was, so I just rode her and left her in, and I think she hit 600 this weekend. I think she was 6 for 10. So that's the situation. And somebody sent me an email and said, why is she in the doghouse? That kid's never in the doghouse. That kid's one of the best kids I've ever coached in my life. Love the kid to death. She is a special teammate for us.
Pitching, it seems like you it's not a set thing, and yet roles are kind of defined.
Yeah, we're getting there. I think as a head coach, I don't like to butt in. I like my defensive coach to coach the defense, and I like my pitching coach to coach the pitcher, and I like my hitting coach to coach the hitters. And when before the Oklahoma game, we're 9-12, and I told my team, this isn't your fault. This is Gerry Glasco's fault. This is my fault. I accept all the blame. And you guys need to know that, and you need to know, your performance is up to me. So, and I took that really personal, being 9-12. That's not who I am. That's not what our program deserves to be. And so I went home and I spent 2 days reflecting on everything. I mean, I didn't talk to anybody. I just thinking about what needs to happen. And my answer was, I need to get involved with the hitting. I need to get involved more with the defense. I need to get involved more with the pitching. So I've tried to do that in every aspect. And one of the things that I did, I can't, as you jump in there with the pitching staff, you got 5 people. Well, you got to get to know them one at a time. You don't have time on a Monday to get to know 5 pitchers. So I know Sam Landry. And Chloe had just come off the Oklahoma win, so it wasn't a real hard decision there. And okay, I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna start these 2 kids every other game. And Chloe also had not gotten near the starts I thought she needed to get. And went back the first weekend of the season, I suggested we start her on, I think it was New Mexico on Sunday morning. And at that time, Coach Justin was thought we should start Sam Ryan, and I felt like that. Maybe we weren't giving Chloe enough starts, because it seemed like last year we'd put her in against a huge game, Florida State and LSU and different times. And so I've just been going simply Chloe, Sam, Chloe, Sam, and trying to use those two. But that's got to change because we got 4-game weeks coming up where we got LSU and McNeese and then LSU and Nichols in midweeks. And I've got to have more arms. So that'll change, but that's what we've been doing. And I think it's been good for both pitchers. I think after the Oklahoma tournament, Miami, Liberty games were rough for Sam, and I think Sam Landry's confidence was probably at an all-time low. And so I've tried to get involved and build her confidence back and give her games that allow her to get out there frequently and get her confidence back. And, of course, Chloe come out of the Oklahoma tournament maybe with her confidence at an all-time high after the win over Oklahoma. And we tried to ride that wave of emotion in a positive way. But I don't think we've got to have more than 2 starters. And so we kind of went from all over the place to narrow it down to 2. And now I think we'll try to ease back in and find another starter. And then we've got to address the 7th inning. That's the one thing right now I'm not happy with is the 7th inning. So we either got to come up with a closer situation or a way to get through that 7th inning a lot differently than what it's been the last few games. Long answer to a question, but it's a complicated question.
Well, who's going to start Wednesday then? Who's got in mind?
Probably Landry or Chloe, on Wednesday. And then this weekend as well. If we're going to add that extra starter in, it'll be on the weekend.
Is everything else kind of set? Everything's kind of.
I feel like I've talked to several players this morning, and they're telling me the clubhouse is freaking awesome, and our chemistry's at a really good chemistry. As a coach, you never know that. You just don't know. And I've had situations in the past where they're telling you the chemistry's good, and then you find out later maybe it wasn't. But these kids are insisting that chemistry's phenomenal. And I think that's due to Jordan Campbell and her leadership in the locker room. And then, we've got some players having great years. Maddie Hayden she is put together from the beginning of the season till now. She's had a phenomenal season, and she's happy. You can just see her when she walks around. She's really happy. Maya Davis. She's had a really solid season. Not as consistent as I feel like Maddie's been, but she's had some moments where she's really good, and it seems like she's really heating up here lately. So I think we've got enough kids having success, and then, of course, winning always helps in the locker room as well.
Stolen base numbers, not just for your team, but they seem like they're down everywhere. Do you think that's the reason because that's now something you can review on replay?
100%, 1,000%. The minute I saw the rule, I knew that was going to happen, and more than I said it would count. It would cut the stolen base by 50%, and it's cut it by more than 50%. And even like Maya Davis doesn't. She's like, she don't want us. I said, Maya, if you want to steal. I'll tell her. If you get on base, you got the green light, steal. Yeah, with the light, it feels like with the camera. They leave and they steal and they get over there. Then they know they're going to review it, and then you left early, you're out. It's a momentum killer. It just kills the momentum. So instead of stealing, we're trying to find other ways to use our speed and be aggressive with our speed, and that just changed the game. I expect that rule to be changed. I don't think that rule will be here to stay. It's changing our sport, and I read on one of the message boards said, "Well, just leave on time," but it's not. It's not possible in softball. That hand's moving so fast on a pitcher, it's impossible to leave exactly on time. It's a guesstimate, and umpires can't call it on time either, but the camera can. And I really don't think you'll see us reviewing that, because here's what's going to happen at the World Series. Any big hit in the 5th inning, if a team's got an appeal, they're going to go and make them look at the feet of a trail runner at second or first that doesn't even matter. And that's going to be over and over and over, and it's going to slow down the broadcast. A few years ago, ESPN was putting out they put out a lot of information. Like, you need us to play faster games, so we fit in those time slots, and how important it was to speed up the game of softball. Well, that rule is going to slow down the World Series game dramatically, and you're going to see it over and over and over, and that's why I think it'll be changed next year.
speeded it up with the new pitch rule, and then
Well, it's like at the end of the season, Maya Davis was a lock to take the stolen base record here at Louisiana, in my opinion. With this rule, highly doubtful she'll set the stolen base record. It's just changed the game that much for her personally, you know. And it's a personal, like I'm letting her go. If she wants to go, go, but she doesn't feel comfortable doing it, you know.